What happens when the pets in our lives get sticky fingers? Do I actually believe that cats have fingers? Will someone manage to make me laugh? Could the sound of the rain actually cure all of my problems? And what special treat do I have for members this week? For answers to questions such as these, stay tuned to That's a Freebie.
Sit back, relax, unless you're driving. It's time for That's a Freebie.
Bob from Nebraska is going to try and make me laugh. Bob writes, man goes to the doctor and says, "Doctor, I think I'm losing my hearing." The doctor says, "Can you describe the symptoms for me?" The man replies, "Sure. Homer is fat and bald and Marge has blue hair." Yep. Well done, Bob. You made me laugh. I recently learned of the tale of Dusty the Klepto Kitty, a Siamese cat from San Mateo, California, who stole not only our hearts, but also pretty much everything that wasn't nailed down in his neighborhood. Over the course of his career, Dusty brought home more than 600 items, making him one of the most prolific cat burglars in history, literally. Dusty was born on March 20th, 2006, and was adopted from the Peninsula Humane Society by Jean Chu and Jim Coleman. For the first 2 years of his life, Dusty was just your average house cat, cute, cuddly, and not at all a criminal mastermind. But in 2008, his owners started noticing random objects around the house, like socks, gloves, and even a pair of pajama pants. As it turned out, Dusty wasn't just being affectionate, he was building a stash. By the time Dusty's thriving career was exposed, his haul included 16 car wash mitts, 73 socks, 213 dish towels, 40 balls, 8 bathing suits. Where does he get bathing suits from? And even a golf club head cover. He once managed to swipe 11 items in a single night. Dusty's favourite targets included carports, backyards, and one assumes any open window that said, "I trust you." His most infamous heist was caught on camera by the Animal Planet show Must Love Cats, which set up a motion-triggered night vision camera to catch him in the act. The footage showed Dusty slinking home at all hours, carrying everything from shoes to bras, because nothing says international cat celebrity like being caught on tape stealing underwear. Dusty's thieving skills soon caught the attention of national media. In 2011, he was featured on Must Love Cats and even made an appearance on The Late Show with David Letterman, where his collection of stolen goods was displayed like some sort of criminal evidence exhibit. Dusty took his newfound fame in stride, appearing at local events and even serving as the Grand Marshal of the Redwood City Pet Parade, presumably after promising not to steal the floats. Dusty's story was so captivating that it made it to Hollywood, or at least to a bonus feature on the Puss in Boots DVD, titled Klepto Cat. His owners also maintained a Facebook page documenting his nightly hauls, ensuring that fans could keep up with his latest exploits. Let's face it, if any human had a rap sheet like Dusty's, they'd be locked up, but since he's a cat, he got invited to fundraisers. Dusty even, actually thinking about it, we would probably invite actual criminals to fundraisers anyway. This is how the world goes now. Dusty even made a celebrity appearance at the Peninsula Humane Society's Adopt-a-thon in 2011, where some of his unclaimed loot was sold, because nothing says support your local shelter like buying a stolen dish towel. Sadly, Dusty passed away on March 14th, 2023, but his legend lives on. His story remains a reminder that even the most law-abiding of us could probably get away with a lot more if we were just a little bit fluffier. So, here's to Dusty, the Klepto Cat, the only criminal mastermind we actually miss. Rest in peace, you were adorable little felon. Over the last few weeks, I've been putting a bit more effort into eating better because, I've been sat on my butt for the best part of 2 months because I couldn't really go anywhere, broken wrist. I mean, I could go places, but it was more difficult because I only had one hand. I couldn't drive, blah, 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 all the stuff we've been talking about for weeks. I started eating better again because, one, I need to. It's an ongoing battle for me, as I'm sure regular listeners to the podcast will know. The other thing is, obviously, I'm getting to the point where I want to start doing karate again because I've not been able to do that while I've been off. And I realised that I'm probably going to struggle quite a bit if I just go into it raw, for lack of a better term. I'm going to make an attempt at, I say I'm going to make an attempt. I've been making an attempt at eating less. I've lost 6 pounds since I started, so things are obviously getting better. I had a practice yesterday of karate. I did some of the workout stuff that we do at home, and I did okay, actually. I dare say, some of it I was doing better than I previously did because I was putting so much more effort into it. But the reason I'm telling you this is because I've been eating better. It means I've been taking less trips getting fast food, and I've been getting less McDonald's in the morning, which, as you all know, is like a daily staple for me. And I've been really putting an effort into not doing it. And I haven't had any food from McDonald's at all since I went back to work, which was a few weeks ago now, but also including the time that I was off because I couldn't get there. And it meant that I've got a lot of points built up on my McDonald's account. So between now and when I went back to work, over the last month is probably, over the last month, I've been using those points to get a coffee in the morning instead of buying a coffee, because I always like a second coffee when I get into town. I don't feel right if I don't have one. I initially started taking one with me, which is fine. That works as well. But then I realized I had all these points. So I've not yet bought a coffee. 1 whole month it's been. I've finally now run out of points. I think I've got enough points for probably one more. So I'm about to have my final McDonald's coffee. Although, I say final. I don't mind buying a coffee from McDonald's. The coffee isn't the best in the world, but it's really, really cheap. And it's actually not that bad, you know. I've had much, much worse. I have a little bit of a tram story for you this week. I have this little ritual that I do before I sit down on the tram. Some people notice it, some people don't. Somebody did notice it the other day and gave me the weirdest look. I thought I'd explain myself. I wish I could have explained myself to the other person. So before I sit down on the tram, now I don't do this every time. It's something I tend to do if I'm getting on my own. If I'm with somebody else, I'm talking and it's not in my mind. But if I'm getting on my own in the morning or in the evening on my way to and from work, I always put my hand on the seat and push down first. Some of you may know why that is, because I think I've told the story of what happened here on the podcast at some point. If I haven't, I'm really surprised. But I always put my hand on the seat and push down first. And I did it the other morning, and there was a lady sat across in the other set of seats, and she looked at it. She gave me the most disgusting look, as if I was doing something weird. Like, I don't know what she thought I could have been doing, but she looked at me like I was a pervert. It's the way she looked at me. She shook her head and everything. She even tutted. The only thing she didn't do was get up and move, which I found odd if she was that disgusted by it. So God knows what she thought I was doing. But what I was actually doing, so once I gets on the tram, I sat down, and it was a really warm day. Really warm day. It was probably like 2 years ago in like really, really hot weather. And I sat down, and it wasn't until I was about halfway home but I realised something didn't feel quite right. And that's when I realised that the seat that I was sat in was absolutely saturated. It was soaking wet. And it grossed me out a bit because at first I didn't know what it was. So I sort of slowly reached down and I put my hand on the seat and realised that it was wet. And eventually I looked at it and I realised that what had happened is somebody had poured orange juice into the seat. The bottle was on the floor at the side of the seat. They'd either spilt the whole drink or they poured it. Now, it was spread across the whole seat. It very, very much seemed like somebody had a laugh and thought it'd be funny to pour orange juice into the seat. And so I had to get up off that tram seat with the wettest arse I've ever had and walk all the way to the car park, which is like a 2 or 3 minute walk. But everybody, it's a really big, popular car park as well. So there's usually about 10 to 20 people walking behind me. So I tried to slowly let everybody else get off the tram first. And of course, people are like, no, you go. And I'm like, no, please, you go. And anyway, it didn't work. There was people behind me. And so I had to walk with this wet ass all the way to the car. And then I had to find something in the car to put down on the seat because I didn't want to get orange juice on my seat. And then I had to get home and have the humiliation of the kids laughing at me because I had orange juice all over my butt. And it was soaked, absolutely soaked. It was sticky. It was horrible. So now, whenever I go to sit down on a tram on most public transport, but mostly on the tram, I always double check first to make sure the seat's not wet, because you never know. It has happened. We are finally starting to get somewhere with my daughter's school situation. The quick update is needed to go to a special school, didn't get the special school because the mainstream school said, no, it's fine, we can handle that. Even though we'd previously been to see them and they said they couldn't. I then filled in the appeal forms and I got a rejection for the appeal saying that I didn't include a letter that is our right to appeal. And I said, where do I get this letter from? They said, you get the letter from the people that sent you the plan in the first place. So I'm like, okay, I messaged them. I say, can I have this letter? They said, no, you've already got it. I said, I haven't already got it. They said, it's included with your educational, I can't even remember what it stands for. It's EHCP, Educational Health and Care Plan. I'm going to guess that, something like that. They said it's the cover letter for that. I said, we only received a PDF of that as a link. We didn't actually receive it in the post. I'm like, no, you don't receive it in the post. It's where you get your decision saying which school you've gone into. So we didn't get a decision letter. We got a phone call. Blah, blah, blah. We've been through all this before. Anyway, finally got to the point where one of the teachers stepped in at school and messaged some head of the local authority, and he has looked into it for us, and he confirms, indeed, we were not sent the correct information. We were only sent the EHCP, we weren't sent the cover letter, and he made us a copy of the cover letter, which all of the people that work below him say doesn't exist. Now, maybe only he has access to remake it, but he did say in his email that he's a little bit disappointed that none of his team just sent me another copy of the letter. All they all did was send me an email that said, you've already received it. No matter how many times I replied saying, no, I haven't, they just sent me back the same template every single time, telling me where to find it. I'm like, it isn't there. Anyway, we got a copy of it. Now that we've got a copy of it, it's extremely obvious why we needed it. It's got a number on it that helps them file it. It's got checkboxes on it that you check to say the reason why you don't want to go to that school. It makes sense. Anyway, I've sent all that paperwork off now. We are awaiting a hearing. We, interestingly, I also had to get a letter from this same guy that said they were still allowed an appeal because we had gone past for time. Because when I originally sent it, they said, you're too late now. When I originally sent all the paperwork, they said, you're too late now. So I had to go back to him and get him to say, no, I give the authority for this to still be seen. And then didn't hear anything since until this morning when I received another email telling me where to find the letter. And I'm like, I've already got the letter and I've sent it to you. Anyway, I looked at the email chain and it looks like they're very much behind in their inbox because they were replying to a previous email that I sent before I resent everything. So I've emailed them again to say, can you just confirm you've received it? But it looks like you're replying to an old email. I will probably get a response to that after we've heard about the hearing. So who knows where that's going to go. In the meantime, we have set up a meeting with the school send head for the school that she's currently set to be going to, and the head of send at her current school, so that we can all get together and discuss her needs, just in case she does end up going to that school, which is what I actually think will end up happening, to be truthful. Who knows? It might turn out that they're great for her. We don't know. It's really hard getting your kids into a school. It shouldn't be this difficult. I have an email from Susie this week. Susie is writing as a response to the episode about my chronic urticaria and angioedema. Still find that word hard to say. Susie says, just needed to say that I too have spontaneous chronic urticaria with angioedema, face and bottom of my feet. This gift from Satan himself has taken control of my life randomly for years. I've lost a job, missed important events and happenings, and I felt ridiculous when my excuse is, I have hives. It almost sounds equivalent to, I have a tummy ache, but I'm really at home, itching so bad that I feel like I'm being tortured. It's so intense that if I had military secrets, I would talk. After years of doctors telling me to change soap and laundry detergents, I've turned to sound healing and just wanted to know if you have heard of anything like that. I may sound like a crazy person, but regular medicine just doesn't cut it. I'm not claiming that it is a cure because I'm just starting to delve into it and thought you might be interested as well. Thanks, and hang in there, Susie from Mississippi. Susie, I'm really sorry you're having to go through that because I know exactly how it feels. It's hideous and it's horrible. And yes, it does make you worry about all kinds of things. I'm really sorry you've lost a job over it at some point. I've been very fortunate that my employer is quite good with things like this, and they have things in place to help where possible. I mean, it's not really something they can help with, but it is. They are good with stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm really sorry you've gone through that. Yeah, I can completely understand the excuse of, yeah, I have hives. It sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? Like sometimes when I've had to call in to work or to call away from events that I'm doing, and I say I have hives, people are like, well, you know, surely being here will take your mind off it. And it is just not like that, is it? It is insane how itchy and disruptive they are. And then when the angioedema kicks in, it's even worse because you could literally be your last day. Like my swelling tends to be face, hands, ankles, and my throat. So, you know, when my throat goes, it's very, very dangerous. It's an immediate call emergency services situation. I'm lucky that doesn't happen as often. It tends to be more my hands and my face that does it. But yeah, absolutely. Yes, you mentioned sound healing. It's interesting you say that. So I wouldn't say I have tried sound healing, but I think I have in a roundabout way. For those that don't know, sound healing is like a therapeutic practice that uses sounds for generated by instruments, human voices, and they promote relaxation, they potentially reduce stress, and they can improve physical and mental well-being. There's all kinds of studies into them. I have looked into it for other things. A few months ago, I started using an app a service. It is also an app, but it's a service called Endel. That's Endel. And the whole point of it is it's supposed to use sound to calm you, relax you, help you focus, help you be more productive. I actually started as a bit of experiment because one thing I was really struggling with was productivity. So on my days off when I'm supposed to be, writing episodes of this very podcast and other things, I was finding that I was procrastinating a lot, and I was finding it really hard to motivate myself and get myself moving, even to do things like the housework. I was getting very tired, and I was falling asleep. Obviously, there's a part of me that was going through could it be depression? All kinds of stuff. And I spoke to my doctor, and we don't think it was that. I've been through depression before. It didn't feel the same. I honestly felt like I was just in a bit of a funk and couldn't get myself moving. So I started looking into ways to stay productive. And one of the things that came up was this Endel app. So I gave it a try. I paid for the full premium. I think I paid for 3 months, which is actually probably due to expire soon. So I need to decide whether I want to keep that or not. And I found that it really, really helped. There's an auto mode on the app that you can press, and it goes through different stages of the day. Supposedly it uses your circadian rhythm to work out what to play at what times, or it uses an average. I don't know exactly how it does it. They are quite sparse with the information they give. Like the studies that they say on their websites were all conducted by them. There might be more there now since I last looked, but there's a lot of, is it real, is it not? What I can say is that it worked for me. What I would do is, I was in the fortunate position to be able to just play it through my hearing aids all the time. The reason I chose Endel in the first place, because there are other apps out there that do it, it has a mode called blend mode. When you turn it onto blend mode, it just plays. It doesn't interrupt anything else. So you could be on a phone call and it'll still play in the background of the phone call. Obviously, only you can hear it. Or I could be listening to a podcast and in the background, it's still playing these sounds. Now, they're generated sounds. It's not music. It's, I don't know how to describe it. You'd have to listen to it yourself. They have playlists on YouTube and places like that. So if you wanted to hear what one of these sounds like, go and check out one of those playlists. I'll try and remember to put one in the show notes so you can click it and have a listen. It works pretty well, but what I can't tell is so what I would do is I flick it into productivity mode like half an hour before I actually want to be productive, and it really, really worked. I used it to, for those that have not checked it out yet, if you go to fluxo.media, there are a few blog posts on there. And I used it whilst I was writing those posts, and I really got into a mode where I was properly focused on what I was writing, and the words were just flowing out. And same with other things I've been doing. Like if I want to make sure I don't nod off in the afternoon and I want to stay productive, I flick it over to a focus mode. I'll put there's different options. It's like deep work, or I can't remember the names of them now, but they're all there in the app. It works. Now, what I can't tell is, does it work because the music's actually doing something, or does it work because I've chosen to put it into this mode, which means then that I'm more aware of what I want to be doing at that moment in time, and I'm more focused on the task at hand because I've told myself that I want to be. Now, either way, it works because, the using of the app is the thing that got me into that mode. I've tried not using it and telling myself that I'm in that mode. I've tried playing music that supposedly is good for focus, and it's not had the same effect. Now, again, that could just be a simple case of, because I know I'm not using the app, it might not have pushed me into that thought process. Really hard to say if it works. Well, no, it's not really hard to say if it works. It works. But it's hard to say if it's the music that's doing it or if it's the actual act of going into that focus mode. And interestingly enough, so I was, before I started using this application, was going through one of my serious bouts of the chronic urticaria, hence the episode. That's why I made that episode at the time, if you recall. And it was shortly after that it went away, and I'd started using Endel then to relax more, like I played in the evening. It's pretty much always playing. Now, the benefit was I was off work all the time because I'd broken my wrist, so I wasn't in work, so I was able to play it. It's a bit harder now that I'm back in work, because obviously I can't just have it playing all the time whilst I'm working, because I won't be able to tell what people are saying to me, which is sometimes a good thing, I guess. But no. So I have inadvertently tried sound healing, I think, and I've got to admit, my urticaria has been a lot better since then. I still find if I don't take my medication twice daily, I start to flare up. But I'm not having flare-ups with the medication now, which was the problem I was having. I guess we'll find out in a few months, because usually I go like 2 to 3 months, maybe 4 months before I start flaring up again. So if I start having flare-ups, I'll try and put an extra effort in to the sound healing. I can't remember what it was called then. My brain went blank. So thank you for writing in. Thank you for giving me that suggestion. I will report back on how that goes. Just before I go this week, I do want to remind you all that I do have a member-exclusive version of this podcast. It's called That's a Freebie Plus. You can head over to fluxo.media, that's fluxo.media, where you can learn more about it. The reason I'm pointing it out to you this week is, well, one, I want to get more subscribers, because obviously. But number two, this week, members are getting an extra special treat. That extra special treat is the first episode, the pilot episode, you might say, of a brand new podcast that I'm hoping to produce. This is almost what you would call a pilot. That podcast is going to be called Draft. I will explain more about it in the post show for members. But until then, that's all for this week. Don't forget to go to fluxo.media. You see more of my stuff, including links to all my social media, and you can join That's a Freebie Plus.